One of the best things about Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights is that it's a completely new event every single year. Universal Orlando change up all the haunted houses, all the scare zones and all the entertainment, so they're completely fresh each time around. This means that every year is a new school year, and those tried and tested tips, tricks and hacks have to be readjusted and reworked for the refreshed event. Coming up in this episode, let's take a look at how I found Halloween Horror Nights 32 in 2023 and what lessons I learned from this year's event to help us plan for the future and maybe help if you're still visiting this year. Hey, this is Stu for Out and Back Travel. I make videos like this one to help inspire your own theme park adventures. If you find this video helpful in some way, please drop the video a like, as that really helps me out on YouTube. Hey, now look, I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer. Halloween Horror Nights is awesome. I really love it. It's my favourite theme park experience in the whole world. I'm hoping these observations and thoughts and feelings from this year can help us all plan for the event in the future. So out the gate, let's do a little side-by-side comparison of how I found this year's event to last year's event. So here's some things I couldn't do this year. Going straight back into the house as there's nobody waiting. Enjoying an unusually quiet Diagon Alley. Breezing straight into Stay and Scream. And those house lines dying down towards the end of the event. Yep, Halloween Horror Nights 32 has arrived, and pretty much all those tried and tested tips and tricks have not only gone out the window, they're straight out the window into a trash can, which is actually on fire, which has been carried down the street by a flash flood of raw sewage. To say 2023 has been a busy year for Halloween Horror Nights is a bit of an understatement. Now HHN is always busy, it's a popular event, so you need to go with that expectation of expecting some crowds and some long lines. There are a couple of factors that turn the dial all the way up to 11 though, quite literally this year, thank you Stranger Things 4. So historically, the super peak attendance levels happen for two reasons. One, it's an anniversary year for the event, or secondly, it's a super IP year, and this year we have not one but two super IPs in the form of Stranger Things and The Last of Us, which have brought immense crowd levels to the point where Universal have actually taken multi-night tickets off sale. So here's how we found this year's event and the lessons we learned along the way and how we actually cracked it. First up then, I caved and upgraded to Express Pass. And you can see this because I've uploaded videos from my trip last year. I managed to do all 10 houses in one night without Stay and Scream or Express Pass. We're able to walk from one sprung tent into the other one without rejoining the queue, and we're even able to lap the monster's house because there was nobody waiting. That just simply isn't possible in 2023. It was actually really hard to get all the event done, even with an Express Pass. I budgeted around £130 for the normal Rush of Fear, but ended up dropping £430 on Rush of Fear with Express, so my pocket was £300 lighter, but I think it was definitely worth it. With Stranger Things being at the event, I knew it would be a necessary evil for us, as it helped take the pressure off getting things done. When Chucky is a 130-minute wait, or in normal speak 2 hours 10 minutes, we only waited around half an hour with the Express Pass, which is much more palatable. With the Express Pass, you don't skip straight to the front of the line, although sometimes that can happen. The Express Pass is a reduced wait, and that gives you time back inside the event to experience more of what the event has to offer. So Express Pass is a great tool for maximising your time at the event. With how popular HHN has become, I do think that when planning trips in the future, I will be budgeting for that Express Pass upgrade. Next up then, it seems everybody knows about Stay and Scream now, and it's become more popular. The lines to get into Stay and Scream this year were bananas. Here we can see the line starts way back past Transformers to get into the New York area. Although it did move up quickly and we're in like 15 minutes, it's still a bit of a change from last year where we just breezed in. When inside the Stay and Scream area, you're waiting inside a designated holding area inside the park, Well, it flips over from regular daytime mode to Halloween Horror Nights mode, so you avoid the crush at the main gate. You can of course use the restrooms, there's always somewhere to get something to eat and drink, or you can pre-queue for the selected houses to open. You just need to find the team member holding up the big lollipops, as these signify the back of the queue line. In 2023, the New York Stay and Scream area has pre-queues for Stranger Things 4, The Exorcist Believer and Dueling Dragons. The Richter's area has a pre-queue for the Chucky house, and the Central Park area has pre-queues for The Last of Us and Universal Monsters. So it can be really worth it to pre-queue for a house before the event officially starts, especially if you don't have Express Pass. Usually they open the houses earlier than the official event start time, so realistically you can be 1, 2 or even 3 houses down before the people at the front gate are allowed into the park and reach the house entrances. This year the Central Park area just looked too crowded for us, so we stuck to the New York Stay and Scream area. Rather than pre-queuing for Stranger Things, as that was just always ridiculously long, we'd enjoy the aircon and the freestyle machine inside Louis' Pizza restaurant. So get a little bite to eat, have a little drink, and about 5 o'clock we'd head outside and pre-queue for the Dueling Dragons house. We found that the houses opened around 5:15 PM. Yep, that's 45 minutes before the event is supposed to start. We kind of breezed through Dueling Dragons, there's not many people waiting for that one over the other two. However, when we came out, as the event hadn't officially opened yet, you're stuck in inverted commas inside Stay and Scream still. So we go and do the Exorcist house, then usually by this time the Yeti house would open, and we'd be 3 houses down before the event had even started, and that worked fairly consistently every night we went to the event. So versus 2022, where our Stay and Scream time was firmly spent in the pre-queues for the houses, it was a bit nicer to take it a bit easier this year and enjoy the drinks and the aircon. Now typically I'd usually advise you not to spend your Express Pass during Stay and Scream time, as this is bonus house time. However, with how busy the event was this year and how old and knackered I am, there were a few times where we didn't get back to the Stay and Scream houses to use the Express Pass. I was just done, guys, it had to be taken out of a wheelbarrow. So maybe it could be an idea just to go ahead and use your Express Pass right off the bat, even in Stay and Scream, especially if you know that you're not going to make it back to repeat those houses later in the evening. The next change we had to adapt to in 2023 was dealing with the crowds. Have I mentioned that it's slightly busy this year? Yeah. I think going into the event knowing it's going to be really busy does kind of help manage the expectation levels, and it also comes back to pacing it over a few nights and try not to cram everything into one go at the event. We were really shoulder to shoulder in the scare zones, so that was a slight adjustment, and I didn't feel we got as much contact as we did with the performers in previous years. And just look at this crowd with this Megan flash mob, and that's not even at an advertised time or place, yet still all these people turned up. It was a bit crazy. And of course the queues for the haunted houses were also crazy. Let's check out these wait times at 8 PM and we can see everything is over 1 hour's wait. In previous years, we'd take a little house break during these peak times and then come back to them as the night drew on and the lines used to get shorter. Well, this year the lines didn't get shorter. Here, checking the queue times at 1 AM, we can see 6 out of the 10 houses are still over 45 minutes long. Compared to my visits in 2022, most of the queues were under 45 minutes after midnight, and by 1 or 2 in the morning you'd have some considerably shorter waits. Next up, let's talk about pacing the event. I always say Orlando is a marathon, not a sprint, and I should probably take my own advice. This year we had Matt join us for his first time in Florida, so that meant we were getting up for early ride time and trying to stay at Halloween Horror Nights until 2 AM closing, so we pretty much killed ourselves off. I mean, don't get me wrong, we did try to have days where we had siestas in between, but it was pretty hard going. I also think it's unrealistic to expect that you can do all the houses each and every night you go to the event. If you have the multi-night ticket, this really is a key to allowing some flexibility of skipping some things and not having to do everything every night because you'll be coming back. So save your feet and don't push yourself to the point of physical exhaustion. This is supposed to be a vacation after all. So I really think in the future, I tried to budget a little more time in Orlando around the event so there can be a little more downtime in between. And that can also be true for which days you schedule your trip to happen. In 2022, I went Wednesday to Wednesday, so landed and went straight to the event. I wanted to make sure we didn't do that again in 2023, as that pretty much killed us off. So by flying on a Tuesday, it removed that temptation to land and go to the event. But it meant that we had 5 nights in a row at Halloween Horror Nights, being able to do the event from the Wednesday through the Sunday. In 2022, I went Thursday to Thursday, so had Thursday, Friday and Sunday at the event in the first week, and then the second week had the Tuesday and Wednesday at the event before I flew home on the Thursday. So that was nice to break up the event with some days in between. Definitely something I'll think about when planning a trip in the future. And our 5th and final lesson we learned in 2023 is to assemble the Scream Squad. As they say in the marketing, never go alone, and that proved to be really true. In previous years to Halloween Horror Nights, it's just been my partner and myself. As with anything, it's much more fun in a group. This year it was great to see so many friends out in Orlando and experience Halloween Horror Nights together. It was good to have that emotional support to go through the scary houses, laughing at each other's jump scares and enjoying a blinky cup together while we watched the Tits and Fire show. Halloween Horror Nights is a wild ride, and it's good to be in a #Scream Squad enjoying the event together. I'll definitely be looking to hook up with a big group when we go to the event in the future, as it was so much fun. So in summary, let's try and sum up the observations and experiences from this year's go at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Florida. I mean, it really is the best Halloween event, and I always have an absolute ball. So I'd always recommend going. Halloween Horror Nights goes from strength to strength each year. You're offering a unique lineup of haunted houses, scare zones and entertainment that are brand new each and every single year. The popularity of course brings the crowds, which can be challenging, so you have to go with the expectation that the event will be busy and you'll have to join a line at some point. It's impossible to experience all Halloween Horror Nights has to offer in a single night. It's much better to spread the event out by upgrading to a multi-night ticket. That way, if you're feeling exhausted, you can retire back to the hotel and not overdo it. And if you're breaking up the event by setting your travel period, so it covers a Friday to Friday for example, you'll get a few nights of breathing room in between the event nights, rather than having them all in a row. Stay and Scream is still a great way to get a head start on the event, especially if you don't have Express Pass, but it can be just as rewarding to spend the time chilling with a drink and join the house queues as they open, rather than sat on the sidewalk waiting for the house to open. While it can seem a scary amount of money to upgrade to Express Pass, it can take the pressure off the event, especially the edge off those long wait times. For example, the extra £300 it was to upgrade to the Express Pass this year for myself over the 5 nights I attended the event worked out at £60 per night, which is a bit more of a comfortable number and definitely more effective spend of money than opting for a single night Express Pass, which again then would have put pressure on staying and having to get everything done in one night. So these are the lessons I learned at Halloween Horror Nights 32 in 2023. What are your takeaways from this year's event? Please do share them in the comments below so we can all learn from each other's experiences. And remember, until next time, stay safe on the way out and back.